I think it is appropriate at this point of the conflict to look at who the German forces are that are battering Gumps and the other members of the 11th Infantry. Prisoners reported that once they left the fort, they were not allowed to go back in. They went out to attack, and got through or else. Most of them wound up in an or else status. The troops were SS troops. From its beginning, the SS were the personal bodyguards of Hitler and other Nazi leaders. At the mention of the letters SS, an image springs to mind of ruthless German troops, the epitome of the Nazi/Aryan ideal, tall, strong, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, enthusiastically ready to fight and die for Germany and their beloved Führer, Adolf Hitler. There also were members of an Adolf Hitler Brigade, an SS Signal Battalion, and 1,500 soldier students of the Officer Candidate School in Metz. The latter were thrown into the line as riflemen and tried frantically and fanatically to make a name for themselves.
Before and during World War II, Germany's Nazi Party condemned drug use. But a new book paints a different picture of the life in the Third Reich.
It claims German soldiers were often high on methamphetamines issued by their commanders to enhance their endurance. And many ordinary civilians, even Hitler himself, were substance abusers. It's all covered in the New York Times bestseller, Blitzed, Drugs in the Third Reich. And we're joined by author Norman Ohler. Norman, welcome.
Glad to be here.
Let's start with the soldiers in the Reich, and particularly the Blitzkrieg, which they were basically amped up on these drugs, correct?
Yes, the big irony is that when the Nazis took power in Germany, they condemned all drugs and they made all drugs illegal. But in the mid-30s, a new medicine was being developed. It was branded as Pervitin, and it actually contained pure methamphetamine. So methamphetamine is a German invention, and they found out that methamphetamine reduces fear and it reduces your need to sleep. So the army got very interested in it and started examining whether it should be used on a mass scale for their invasion.
How mass scale did it become when in its use in the army?
Well, when they attacked Poland, it wasn't organized yet, but they realized many soldiers knew about Pervitin and had it and were taking it and were reporting it's really good for the battlefield. And then before the Germans attacked France, the army decided to organize the Pervitin, the methamphetamine use, and 35 million dosages of meth.
35 million?
Wow.
Were being distributed in April and May when Germany got ready and then attacked and surprised France and the British armies, who had no idea of what was going on, what the so-called Blitzkrieg was.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just meth, it was also cocaine, forms of oxycodone that were in circulation and used by Hitler himself. How did he first come into contact with these substances?
Well, Hitler was known to the German and the world population. The propaganda always showed him as a teetotaler. Hitler wouldn't use any drugs, obviously. He was even portrayed as a health freak. He wouldn't even eat meat, no coffee, no alcohol. But the reality was that in 1936 he met a doctor called Theo Morel, a fascinating character, in my mind one of the most fascinating characters of the whole Second World War. Morel was a kind of celebrity doctor in Berlin, and he was famous for giving vitamin injections. And when he met Hitler in 1936, he started giving vitamin injections to Hitler, and he was giving probiotic medicine. So he was kind of an avant-garde doctor. And then later in the war, as Hitler developed serious health problems, Morel started to give different things, and this gets more and more intense until towards the end of the war, Hitler takes much more than vitamins. And actually,
What's he taking?
Well, the hardest drug he's taking is an opioid, a half-synthetic opiate called Eukodal, which the active ingredient is oxycodone. Mm-hmm. Which is a popular drug still today, also in the United States.
Yeah, used in the United States, sure. Widespread.
Hitler would be getting 20 milligrams of this injected intravenously every other day, which is a very high dosage.
And he was also getting cocaine swabs in his nasal areas as well, right?
Well, after Operation Valkyrie on July 20th, 1944, when a bomb exploded in Hitler's headquarters, Hitler was quite severely injured, even though propaganda said the Führer is not injured. People died in that room, and they claimed that Hitler was not injured. Actually, he was quite severely injured, and he had a state meeting the same day with Mussolini. So his doctor comes in, gives him the Eukodal shot, and then another doctor comes in and gives him, from that day on until October the same year, lots of cocaine. So he received cocaine in 3 months over 50 times, getting cocaine in the morning, getting Eukodal in the evening. So this is
speedball.
This is the speedball. Yeah.
You know, what's so interesting also about your book, Norman, is the whole climate in Germany leading up to the war and the development, essentially, of the modern drug market as we know it. In 1926, you write, the country was the top morphine-producing state and world champion when it came to exporting heroin.
Well, we have to understand that the dangerous addictive drugs we know today, like heroin or cocaine, were once legal products. Yeah. And they were actually German patents, and they were an important part of the German pharmaceutical economy. So in the 1920s, it was you could get these drugs in any pharmacy.
And they were making chocolates with them, it sounds like. They were for everybody. It is a fascinating window into a less discussed chapter of German history. Norman Ohler, thank you so much.
Great to be here. Thank you.